Hey y'all, and welcome to the first podcast of the semester. My name is Michaela Ferraris. I'm the president of John Jay Radio. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and I'm happy to welcome you back for our first podcast. With us today, we have
Chelsea. My name is Chelsea. I'm the vice president of John Jay Radio. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm excited to start this semester off with you guys.
And then, hi everyone, my name is Raquel Rocky Caridad. I'm secretary of John Jay Radio. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm excited for it to be the first episode. Let's see where we go with that.
And we have some guests with us today. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
So what's up everybody? My name is Artem. I am the treasurer of JA Productions, also former founder. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm just excited to talk about everything, and we'll see where the discussion goes.
Hello, my name is Galart. Senior at John Jay. I'm in John Jay Productions, and I can't wait to talk about what we have in store for this semester.
We have another guest who will be speaking later on. But for now, today our discussion topic is tips and tricks to survive the semester. So first, how about we discuss some problems we encountered at the beginning of the semester? Because I heard from other people that they've had a lot of problems.
I think for me, starting this semester fully online, it's just like, it was a negative and a positive. Positive in the way that I have the time now to do everything. I thought about it yesterday, between the travel time to get to school, the time to get back, you go into classes and stuff, and it's like now I'm home, I can just kind of focus on what I need to, but then that's also the negative because I can't focus because I'm home. So I think for me, it goes 50-50. I'm a procrastinator, so that kind of gets in my way. But now because I am home and I have nothing to do, like you shouldn't be outside going here and there, everywhere.
I think one of the problems that I faced, specifically last semester when we first started like quarantine and online classes and stuff, was the lack of motivation. Because staying inside, I'm a homebody, which is weird, but staying inside for as long as we stayed inside for, I went on like a whole month with not doing any assignments, and I like had to apologize to my professors because I was handing in assignments late, and I just couldn't. I just stayed in my bed for like a whole maybe 3 weeks, not doing any assignments. So that was probably one of the biggest struggles that I had. This semester, since it is my last semester, I'm a senior, so I'm graduating. I'm kind of like, I don't have a choice. I have to like do all my assignments to make sure I graduate. But yeah, that was definitely a big struggle that I had to face from virtual classrooms.
Like building off of both of your answers, it's amazing. Like literally, you have more time, but at the same time, you feel like you have less time because you, as we're staying home, you don't have to go travel. You don't have to spend in the halls waiting for another classroom. You don't have to wait during community hour until your next class comes on. So you're at home, you just log on and you save so much more time. But at the same time, your motivation starts depleting, and your motivation is just not there anymore. You just don't want to do anything. You don't even want to show your face. You're always on mute, always on video turned off, and it becomes very difficult. And I don't think it only becomes difficult for like the students, maybe also for the professors, because the professors feel more discouraged about what's going on, and this whole environment becomes like a whole cycle of just vicious like demotivation going on, which becomes very terrible. And it's like you have your positives and your negatives. Like you say, you have more time, but your motivation depletes, and it's really interesting how like this whole just because of this whole social distancing thing happening, how we feel apart, but we also feel kind of together. So it's kind of a completely revolutionary like thing that we're going through right now, and we don't know how it's going to affect the future as well. How this education could also be affecting like future things that are going to be happening, because this is all new to all of us.
Especially for like the people that have like the early classes, and they that they have time, but then they mostly like sleep into their classes and skip in and feel like, oh, I forgot I missed all these days of work and stuff. And it's like, you have time, but you basically don't have time. So it's kind of like a blessing but a curse at the same time.
Yeah, that's a big thing, because like even if your class isn't meeting how you would in person, like you would think you would have more time, But with all the assignments and everything you have stacked up, it's like there's not really that much time for anything.
Can I just say, maybe it's me or like the class I'm taking right now. I feel as though, and it might be because it's still early. It's only the third week of school. I'm like floating by. I'm like, this is great. This is what's called Blackboard assignment here and there. The most annoying thing about it is just commenting on other people's thing, and it's like we all wrote the same thing. How much is there to comment on? But I'm more like trying not to psych myself out for the rest of the semester, because when I start seeing like the syllabus and I'm like, okay, paper 1, paper 2, this, and I'm like, gosh, like I'm really gonna be sitting here in my room, can't discuss with the person next to me, can't walk up to the professor in front of the class and stuff like that. Like when you have a question afterwards, it's like, wow, like I'm like floating, because I'm like, oh, this is cute, this is fun, it's little things, and then I'm like, I'm so afraid of like the next month. And I'm trying not to psych myself out about it.
Yeah, that's actually a very good way to like jump in, because I've noticed as well too, like from last semester, because I think everything was just in chaos, because we in the middle of just the semester we just transitioned to this, and everyone was just like everything was going on. And now currently for this semester, I feel like I'm on top of everything, but I'm still stressing out about stuff for doing the next 2 weeks. So I'm currently like, for instance, for me, I'm currently up to date for most of my assignments, but I'm still worried, and I'm still worried about things that are due in 2 weeks. So maybe it's just a beginning thing where at first you felt like this kind of demotivation because like everything's in chaos and you're like, it's like, screw this, I don't want to do anything anymore. And then like as you got more into the habit and the routine of online learning, maybe that's when we start getting a little motivation, more of a habit going on, and we kind of start settling down a little bit more. So I don't know how everybody else feels about that.
Yeah, because mostly it's like saying settling it down, because I don't think that most of these teachers like were fully prepared for this online course, online university. Like when I started, like first week I started, like this professor had to cancel class because she didn't know what she was doing with online, and her internet was out, and then like she just kept on going in and out, and it's like we barely just started doing assignments now, so it's like difficult not only for the professors but for the students itself too.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely agree with what Artem said about classes. Like I know I'm on top of all my assignments right now. I know that, and yet every day I am checking my planner, I'm checking my syllabi, making sure I have all my due dates correct, making sure I'm on top of everything. And it's like, I know I'm on top. In fact, I'm even ahead in some of my classes.
Yeah.
And yet I'm worried I'm falling behind.
Yeah.
No, I feel bad. I feel bad for some of the professors too, because I know this is a different thing that they have to go through. I know a lot of my professors never taught online before, and it's all new to them like it is to us. And I know one of my professors actually, she gives us weekly quizzes, and I've had her 3 times, so this is like the 4th time I'm having her, and she's never given us weekly quizzes like in any of her classes. So I know that she's like making sure that we're getting all the content, we're understanding everything, because we can't go up to her in the classroom and be like, hey, I don't understand this, because she is that type of professor to raise your hand if you have any questions. I'll explain it in further detail. And instead, because we're all online now, she has to change her teaching methods so it could like help everybody out, because she doesn't want to fail anybody. I don't think any of our professors want to like let us fall behind, but they have to change their curriculum and how they teach in order to make us go ahead in life and graduate.
Yeah, I have this one professor who she runs this game, as she calls it, for her class, where you assume the role of either a Federalist or an anti-Federalist. She literally said this was the first time in the 7 years that she was teaching that she had not hosted this game in person. And it's like, as much as we're saying we have a lot of work ourselves, they'll do the professors. And like that's something like sometimes you have to step back and realize at the same time it's tiring.
Not only do the student, because technically some of the professors are also students. They could be going for their doctorate as well too, and that's 5 to 7 years of extensive research. And on top of that, they have hundreds of students to teach at the same time, so it becomes like such a hassle for everybody. And like once you understand like the point of view of like professors as well too, you kind of understand. And like for professors who have very troubling experience with like computer applications or using technology, like people maybe over 50, I don't want to say all of them, but maybe like a majority or something, they would probably have more difficulty, and then transitioning to this completely online platform where they could probably barely figure out how to open the internet or some kind of browser. That becomes such a difficult situation, and I don't know how basically all the resources are going to just that for the technology. And I'm thinking like a future, how is this going to change literally all education systems, all universities, and even like in future cases like many corporations or work environments as well. So like, because this is basically like preparations for our work environment, like how will this all change the future? And I'm glad like universities caught on to this quickly, because we're basically the forefront of learning new experiences and testing new ideas out, and universities caught on to this quickly. And I'm wondering how this will all affect everything in the future. That's going to be really interesting.
So I want to use this now to segue into what are some tips and tricks y'all are using to keep yourself on track, to keep yourself motivated, and just how are you surviving this semester?
A tool that kind of keeps me on track is the fact that like when I'm home, my body naturally kind of wakes up early sometimes. So that happens every once in a while. Say I set an alarm for 10, my body will wake up at 7 no matter the time I go to bed. With that, I'm trying to use each moment that I'm actually awake to do something. So I'm not just sitting here on Instagram all day, because I know I'll look at Instagram, I'll be like, oh yeah, 5 minutes, it'll turn into an hour. So it's like, instead of doing that, I can go on Blackboard, just see what I have to do, screenshot some stuff so I know it's in my camera roll, so I can't say, oh, I didn't want to log back in, it's in my camera roll. And even if I'm on Instagram, so like, you know, if you slide to the side, you can add to your story, or you press the little camera, it adds a photo on your page. You press that and you look at the stuff in your camera, you see the stuff that's there, and you can't deny that you have something to do. So it kind of helps me be aware that I have to keep on top of something.
That's actually really smart. I'm about to I'm gonna take that.
Yeah, I should use that.
I know one thing that actually was a smart idea, and that I found haven't tried until like yesterday, 2 days ago, was so LGBTQ and allies have a study hall session, which is basically a session from 6 to 9 of just everyone coming onto Zoom, and basically a virtual library where everyone just comes in and sits down, everyone's muted, and we all just start taking notes. And like, for instance, I think that's such a big initiative or a big motivation to actually help you do your work, because you know you're not the only one doing work. Because when you're sitting at home, you open a book, I read a paragraph, I'm like, all right, that's enough work. All right, let me go on my phone, go on Instagram, and just like scroll on there for 2 hours. And I'm like, all right, I have to go back and start looking to the textbook. So I literally go back to the textbook, read another paragraph. All right, that's enough for me today. And then I just go back to my phone. And like with study hall sessions, like you literally are reading the book, and you feel like this kind of motivation of just continuously reading, because you're not the only one. You see all these other people are doing it at the same time.
It's a Monday through Thursday session from 6 to 9?
Every day 6 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so like Monday through Sunday, like every day?
7 days a week.
I would love that link actually, because I feel like that would work.
It is amazing, and I think that's very smart, because at the same, and I think afterwards there's also after-hour sessions where basically after everyone's done with their study hall, we just come back and just talk about just random stuff. So it's amazing too, because you literally talk to just random new people, and I don't know, like for all of y'all, I don't know how freshmen feel, because freshmen are just coming in. This is the first year they're doing this, and they don't know. Not only do they have new college experience and stress going on, they also have the Zoom, like everything's on Zoom now, and everything just remote learning. And they probably didn't experience this in high school. They probably only experienced this for like the last 2 months, and they were seniors. And at that point, like it was like senior cut day every fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they're coming into this new environment completely new environment. Not only is it like educational physical, it's educational at your own home. So it becomes like it's so difficult. So I think like for them, that study hall session, it kind of bonds people, bonds the students back with each other, and kind of you understand other John Jay students. And for instance, this podcast as well too, giving tips and tricks to all these other freshmen out there. It's like yo, don't be afraid, just come onto this podcast or just listen to this podcast as well too, because there's a lot of good tips and tricks here.
I'm a senior and I would love that. So I can't imagine like a freshman coming in that doesn't really know anyone, that's in a new environment, and like you're saying, like they never done this before. I think that's great motivation, because it would sit me down, and it's like good peer pressure. Like it would sit me down and realize, okay, from 6 to 9, you have to do something. You have to be some type of productive. Because whether you think or not, somebody's looking at you, but they'll look back down.
Exactly, and like that's the main thing. Like it's like literally, it's like, all right, I have this kind of peer pressure, and like you mentioned, it's like so amazing because it's a good type of peer pressure. You're like trying to, it's like, or that, oh, everybody's here and everybody's gonna see like I'm lazy or something like that. And even like from what I heard as well too, is like some of the people, even like the last 20 and 30 like minutes, people are just finished with their assignments or something, and they just are sitting on their phones. But the time of 6 to 9 is so religious that study hall sessions ends at 9 exactly. And you know, like you could be done with your work the last 15 minutes to 20 minutes, but like you're still not going to say anything in the study hall session because you don't want to like ruin that like magical moment. You don't want to ruin that because you don't know if someone else finished, or even if everyone else finished, even if you see everybody with their cameras on and they're just like literally sitting back like this, you're still going to be, you're still gonna respect that time. It's like a religious sacred thing that you do not want. And if someone comes in and unmutes themselves before 9, everyone's just gonna be like.
He's not exaggerating at all either. I love these study sessions so much. They are a godsend.
I didn't even know these things existed.
Yeah.
Me either. First time I heard it.
I'm gonna in the description down below when I post this to YouTube, I'll put a link to LGBTQ and Allies Instagram page. Be sure to check it out. They are literally a godsend. And also Sam, he is also a godsend. Because of him, I found out about time blocking, which has been monumental as well. And like planning out my day, how I'm doing my classes, when I'm taking breaks, like to the minutest detail. Like I'll plan when I'm going to eat, when I'm like gonna break, and all this stuff, and it's so good. And definitely study hall is so great. Like Sam usually runs it, and they'll have lo-fi music playing, and it's just like this sacred moment where even if you're not finished, there are breakout rooms where you can continue studying. And if say you want to work with a partner and still be on this, there's a breakout room for that as well. So if you need someone to work with, you'll be like, hey, I kind of want to work with you on this, but I don't want to talk and chat. Can we be moved to a breakout room? Because we have Bloodhound Lounge, I think there's library. So there's like specific breakout rooms as well where you can still like talk and interact with other people while studying together if you want. Or if you need to keep studying after 9, you can still do that.
It was really the only thing like that got me confused is breakout rooms, because like I'm part of the older side that doesn't know how to use technology. But yeah, it's still such a great moment, like literally like having these study sessions. And like another tip I would actually suggest for a lot of like members or non-members of just different clubs is joining the events that are happening around the campus, and like join, like for instance, like JD Productions has like a workshop going on for any kind of like production reasons, for like music production or video production, animation production. We have it every Friday during like community hour, like 1:30 to 3 o'clock, and it's just we just come on and people want to share their production or stuff that they've done and show it off to like the rest of the club. It's like, oh, this is cool. Like, what about like, can you do this? Like, for instance, me and another member, Daniel Aguilano, are doing a lot of music production, and we've helped out a couple of students with like a lot of like making their own music, making their own like singles, like how to record, how to do this. And like we want to continue this on like throughout the semester, because I think this is like a great way for other people to interact. And in addition to that, like I don't know if everyone has heard, but Adobe has given free access to all their platforms, which is Photoshop. You have free Photoshop basically under the educational. You have free Premiere Pro, which is like a video tool where you can actually make your own videos. Like a lot of professionals use this stuff as well too. And then you have motion graphics. Like I'm just dropping stuff. Like you could do like animations, and this is all like professionally graded stuff are given to you for free. All you have to do is just log in with your John Jay account on Adobe, and that's it, which is amazing. And then I'm like, I have to take it. Like we all have to take advantage of this, especially with everything being remote. Like people could just make videos instead of like PowerPoint presentations about like their like assignments, because like PowerPoints can just really get repetitive after a while. And then like you have this new spark of creativity and knowledge, and I think that's also a great way to keep you motivated about assignments. You're like, all right, let me try something different. What you want to say, Galar?
Kind of glad that every club like an Instagram, because especially now that it's remote, you can and we already on Instagram anyway. Everybody in college and school already on Instagram. We could use that to join different clubs and to get involved in different activities. Like that's a really good way to get involved.
No, yeah, and I think that also helps out with like tips and tricks of like how to keep yourself motivated with a lot of this stuff. Like, and you brought this up, like Instagram as well too. Like we all employing Instagram, because I'm pretty sure all of us, or most of us, if you don't have Instagram, or just on social media, just browsing and just like looking around. And if you find something that you like, why not join it? Like this is all free for students. Like I would definitely take advantage of this. Like if you don't take advantage of free, then I don't know who you are. I just don't. You're not. You're not human to me.
In time.
There's several clubs who have started their own WhatsApp group to help members connected in their club. So if you're really interested in the club, you can see how other ways they're staying connected. So like for radio, we have our podcast, which anyone can come on, but we also have a WhatsApp group that people can join. And I know LGBTQ and Allies has one too, and I believe Productions does as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we have our own WhatsApp.
For instance, not only WhatsApp, but there's also like Discord. Like you have a whole bunch of channels for Discord, which helps out. And then there's like little their own version of breakout rooms over there as well. Like I wish I got more into Discord. I need to get more into Discord, because I go on there, I accidentally put on my mic and I don't know what the fuck is happening. It was one time I was just like walking around, like people just heard footsteps. It's like, what is this guy doing? He's like, everything all right? So embarrassed. I was like, shit. Like I still don't know how like bots work or anything. Like I just heard bots. I'm like, you guys hacking in here or something? So I was confused about everything going on. Like with any new platform, you just have to get used to it, just learn it, and the best way to learn it is just going in and just asking people around, so like other members, either from like John Jay Radio or LGBTQ+, JD Productions. Like we're all learning new stuff from all of this, and best way to learn is just dive in and asking other people. So like this, the best thing I would encourage all the students of John Jay or any other college, and specifically, is to interact. That's the main thing. Interact with clubs, interact with other students, actually talk, because we're a species of communication. We won't survive without actually communicating with each other. So we need to just continuously just talk, and then that's how we learn. That's how we're all in college, to learn and get a better job and to like actually expand ourselves, because we actually want to grow. So and with this new environment, I think there's always room for new growing experiences. Like once we go out into the world of like just jobs and just working 9 to 5, or for instance, like maybe you have your own business or whatever the case may be. There's even like people working midnight shifts for like art critics and everything like that. There's like so many opportunities out there now, and I think knowing this kind of technology is gonna help you so much. You're gonna be having clients in China, maybe like talking like remotely, or you'll be having like instead of just being face to face with somebody. So you'll be making like maybe multi-million-dollar deals or something like that overseas, just by learning how to do this.
Yeah, definitely use this time to like experiment with different things. So one tip that I do to keep myself on track is I have 3 different planners. So I have a planner on my computer, I have a planner that's on my and I have my in-book planner. And I'm always looking at all of these. So like experiment with different things. So I would have never known that my 3 planner method worked if I wasn't just like messing around with random stuff and like kept putting information in random different places. But that works for me because like I'm a natural like messy-ish person. So I'll have like notes like every other place. But to me it's all organized and it helps me. So just experiment with different things.
3 planners. Damn.
I was gonna say like I have a planner, but it's just like even throughout high school, I was never that girl that like I would get it and I would waste it like every single year. I wouldn't use it. I'd use it the first week. I'd use it whenever it comes to random
first week, and then
the teachers would be like, okay, so homework tonight. I'd be like, let me get my phone and just write this down because I wasn't gonna take out the planner and do it. So it's like I commend you for even keeping 1, let alone 3. And I try to. It's just not for me. I'm realizing it's just a little harder for me to keep a planner.
Yeah. I would say another trick that I use, or tip, is I'm a creature of habit, which is weird because like I get bored very quickly. But lately, I pretend like I'm actually going to school. Like I'll wake up at 7, like 2 hours before class starts. I'll shower, I'll eat breakfast, I'll go downstairs in my dining room, bring my laptop, and just start classes as if I was going to class. And then once community hour comes, I take a break, watch TV, chill out. When it's 3 o'clock again, I go right back to doing work in classes. I don't know, maybe because I'm just used to how being in John Jay, that's how it worked. And that's how I'm gonna do it. But I guess make your own schedule, especially like if you're a freshman and you're new to this. I would say create your own schedule, make a layout or outline of how you're gonna go throughout the day. I know if you like have class, if you have like math at 10 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, pretend like you're going to that class Monday, Wednesday. Sit down in front of your laptop or wherever you're, taking the class at, and just have a schedule. Because when you have a routine, you will get more productive and more things going out the day. Especially if you're studying, make a routine and a schedule for studying too, and apply that into your weekly planner or put on your phone, your calendar, anything. That way you won't fall off track. Transitioning into a new school and especially a new environment since all of the classes are online now. So that would be my tip.
I feel like that takes a lot of discipline because I've had that thought, but like say like my first class is 10:50 or something Mondays and Wednesdays, and I have a class or 2 after that. I'm like, wow, maybe I should get up. Maybe I should like.
This is what I was gonna do originally because I didn't even know if we were gonna go to school for these classes. So I was like, I might as well just get up at 7, pretend like I'm actually going to school anyway. Just to
like I thought about that, and then it's like after a while, I was like, why am I waking up at 7? My class is at 10:50, and I don't have to travel an hour and a half. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna set an alarm at 9:40 and set 7 alarms after that, and wake up for class right when class starts. Keep the laptop open, keep the Zoom session at the side, put that on the floor, and get back to it.
Because I can't function without breakfast or coffee, so I might as well just take a shower, get some food in me, stay awake.
Yeah, that I agree with Raquel. Unfortunately, like I try to put myself in that 7 o'clock mood. It's like I'm gonna wake up, I'm a little bit of a run. I'm gonna go eat a healthy ass breakfast. I'm like take a shower and like be so prepared. I'm gonna be like so pumped. I'm gonna feel like Steve Jobs like coming into a fucking boss. And then I wake up, I see my alarm 7 o'clock. I'm like, just go back to sleep. And I wake up fucking 9:40, and I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Like,
you know what you should try? So a lot of people think that time blocking and like scheduling is the only thing that you can do, but a lot of people actually don't know that there's something called energy management, which is essentially kind of planning your day instead of around like a set time, like, oh, I'm gonna wake up at 7:30 because that seems the most productive. That's actually kind of a fallacy. because once you break out of that REM sleep, you're like, oh, I'm going to do all this heavy stuff. And that's the problem, that people do that. And so they're less likely to do things. So there's this thing called shallow work and deep work. So shallow work is kind of like something you're like, oh, I got to text somebody on my WhatsApp and email, and kind of like I can lay in bed for a little bit and do this. Instead of like waking up at 7:30, like, oh, I have to work out, like ease into it. So maybe it's just like just rolling out of bed, putting on your pajamas, checking your email a little bit and relaxing, and then like going like, okay, now I'm gonna have to start working out, now I'm gonna get my breakfast and things like that. And then there's that, and then there's the version of like energy management, which is like, okay, I feel the most energetic at 12, so before I hit 12 I can do things that are less energy based. So if at 12 is like when you want to work out, get all of your homework done, you would build kind of energy management in between that. So that's when you like I know somebody who like they knock out at like 2, like they get exhausted at 2 and then they pick up at like 4. So in between 2, what they would do is just kind of do the more relaxed things, the things that didn't take that much, just like reading over things, just quickly like signing over things that didn't take much of their energy away, so that they were able to wake up at 7:30 and get everything done within those time periods, because they were building it less around what they think was productive and more about what was about them and their body and what their body was telling them. So it's actually a mixture of 2 things, which is scheduling, energy management, and understanding yourself, and understanding what's the difference between deep and shallow work. Because like I said, deep work is all about like getting into it and getting focused, and then you have to get this rhythm, and that's impossible to do. It's like going straight into a sprint without stretching. You're gonna regret it. So shallow work is the stretching of work and productivity.
It's actually really smart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to try to do that, because I know sometimes like I literally just see my phone and just turn it off. Like even like waking up and you have your phone on or something like that, you still have that white screen, like, and you're still playing on the phone or something, and you have that white screen just hitting you in the face, and you feel like you want to wake up a little earlier or something like that. And I think like easing into it is actually a big part. And I think that would really like help out so for anybody. So I definitely need to take that into account, like energy management, and knowing myself as well too. I feel like more of a nocturnal person, so yeah. I have to, I guess, that kind of like habit as well too. But just know myself with all this kind of stuff.
See, like the alternative to like time management is like when you have time management, you feel constrained, and like what you were mentioning is like, oh, like I want to work on the stuff that matters to you. So energy management is less about the constraint of the time and more about focusing your attention and developing habits around the things that matter to you. So like, say for example, you're into like making music, right? Obviously you want to get music done, right? So if you build everything around the things that matter the most to you, you're more likely to get more things done. So if let's just say you build like, oh, I'm gonna try to do music at like more early in the morning, like 8ish. So I'll wake up at 7 to get that done at 8, and then everything else after. They're already up at 8, so you might as well do everything else.
That's actually smart. That's actually really smart. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, LGBT and Allies also has a lot of like help tips, and we help our students a lot just because I'm a peer success coach and I run a study blog in my free time. All I do is study energy management, time management, because me growing up, I came from like a super academic school. I had to do college at 13. It was the worst possible thing for me, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be able to do this. So I was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna like lose it. And so I realized like I was just stressing my whole life. And like when I started organizing, it just made like you would think like, oh my god, it's so rigid, your life is like crazy, and it's like, no, it's actually so much more relaxing because you know when things are gonna be due. Like I try a bunch of different notebooks. One of my favorites is this one called the Hero's Journal. It's the coolest thing ever. It turns your entire life into a D&D campaign that you play as. And one of my favorite concepts that's in this book is like, there's 2 types of frogs. There's the small frog and the large frog. And it's easier to eat the small frog when you've already finished the big frog, because the small frog doesn't look so bad. And so what that relates to is like tasks. So like, let's just say you have like a 5 or like a 20-page essay for a class and like an art project, right? The art project doesn't seem so bad, right? But if you do the art project, you're definitely going to want to put off that 20-page paper. But if you do the 20-page paper, you're like, whatever, the art project's not that bad as comparison to a 20-page paper. So like, that's something I definitely learned, just like trying these different methods. And I tried this thing called like a panda planner, and it's like there's this thing called SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, attainable, and I forget what the last one is for T, but it's like trackable or something like that. And so you make like, it's like, for example, like it's the difference between like, oh, I want to get work done today, or I want to send 3 emails by 5 p.m. that have proper email etiquette. See, that's the difference. One's specific, measurable, attainable, and trainable, whereas the other one's like very vague. So it helps you figure out when you want to do it, how you want to do it. And time blocking is less about, oh, like I have so many tasks. It's more about finding your priorities and fitting them into these time slots. So like it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, it's actually really good. I definitely would need something like that. Especially me, I have projects from left and right, up and down, and it's just insane. So I have to I usually have it all in my head, and having like these planners or having these like literally small attainable goals. Once you start that off, then you could start building the momentum and then building on from that, and then keep going and going, which is yeah.
There's definite ways to prioritize too. Like a lot of people, I used to use the ABC method. So like A is like my most highest task, and like B is like meh, C is like okay, kind of getting there. And I used to do it like with like numbers too when I was like first doing it, but I just like the ABC method a lot better. And it's really cool because when you think about types of energy too, that's just something that comes to energy management. Is like there's physical energy, spiritual energy, emotional energy, and mental energy. So the more you realize where you're at, like let's just say you're like spiritually just not there to like work towards something. If you take a lesser task that doesn't take so much of your spiritual energy, like maybe it's just like watching a movie with friends that has something to do with like your class, you're more likely to get that work done, right? Because you're refilling that spiritual energy, and then after you finish that, you're like, now I can do this big essay. So it's like you're refilling yourself without even realizing you're doing it. So the more you recognize yourself, the better it is. And it's I would say just like take things from stuff you like. Like don't ever feel like you have to like oh, this successful person on this article said that they wake up at 6 every a.m. and have like 4 eggs and punch a chicken in the face. So that's what I have to do to succeed. Like that's not gonna work for you. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Yeah, everybody's different, so you just have to find your own method and kind of work towards perfecting it. Because we're all different human beings. We all have different methods. We all have different outcomes as well, and we all have different missions and goals in life as well too. So I think we just have to learn on how to build our method to success. And we each have a different method. So it's not a copy paste method. It's going to be varying to each person. You just have to keep trying stuff out.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is like always overestimate. Like if you think homework's gonna take 2 hours, overestimate it for 4 hours, because you're gonna be so constrained within those 2 hours, you're gonna be like stressed out of your mind. Like I have like study hall's like 6 to 9. Honestly, I'm not gonna say I study from 6 to 9. I don't. I get on my phone for like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, let me go back to what I was reading. You know, I have a 40-page thing to read. Okay, I'm gonna read 10. And then just kind of like breathe, sit there for a minute. You know, I'm not there like doing it. Like, oh God, I gotta get this done 6 to 9. Like, you look crazy doing it. You look like a crazy person. Mm-hmm. You know, I was talking to a couple people in study hall, and they're like, sometimes they just wait, they'll finish like, all their homework or whatever they have to do, and they have an hour left or half hour, and they just sit there very quietly. Mm-hmm. They feel weird breaking the silence. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. It's just like, we're all just like, taking our little break, taking our little time. We're on like YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, we're just discussing as well too.
We're gonna move on to our next topic now, which is how do you feel about public schools being open to kids and having in-person schools again while we're still in the middle of this pandemic?
You have something to start.
I honestly think it's stupid. Like, I don't understand why the mayor would put little kids in danger to go to school. I mean, yes, I've heard like both sides of the story. Like I've heard people say like, oh, they want their children to have more social cues and social skills. And I get that. I'm all for that. But at the end of the day, to put a 10-year-old or somebody younger in school and knowing they're not going to wear that mask all day because kids want to hang out with their friends and they haven't seen their friends in 5-6 months, they're not keeping that mask on all day long. They're not. And you know, that child could be living with his or her grandmother or grandfather, and they give it to them, and then that grandfather or grandmother gets sick, and then it passes it on to the mother and father, and it's just a whole debacle. And I just don't think that all public schools should be closed. And I feel like if CUNY schools and SUNY schools are getting, you know, online classes, so should public schools. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I totally agree with Chelsea. I think the best representation is the people who made this decision made it over Zoom and not in person because it was too dangerous to be in person to make that decision.
Point made.
Another thing, right? Betsy DeVos is like, oh, it's only going to be 2%. It's like statistically only 2% of all kids would get sick. 2% is like 200,000.
Exactly.
Like,
it makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
And plus, think of the mentality of a little kid. They will literally take a bite out of a cookie and trade it for freaking Go-Gurt.
Exactly.
Trade masks. If they trade one cooler than another.
They would 100% trade masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Then the mom's gonna be like, "Oh, that's you would have ran that this morning." Like, yeah, I traded it with Johnny. Like,
Johnny, yep.
why would you
And
do
then
that?
COVID happens.
yeah. I'm imagining someone just like, it's like, oh, you give your kid a Spider-Man mask and they come back with like a Incredible Hulk mask.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Interesting.
I got about that too, because my cousin, like, she's a little kid, she has to go back to school because that is like the responsibility. She has to go back to school. And I'm wondering every day if she's gonna get infected, she's gonna get sick. Did you guys see, like, in the news there was like outside learning, they was putting like desks outside, and they was putting desks outside in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It was either New York or it was some other state. It was putting desks and like classrooms outside with the teachers, because if you are outside, it's like the effects is very, very less of getting it, because outside is circulating air. So I'm saying is, but honestly, there should not be no risk for our kids to like go back to school. We should at least until a vaccine is found or something else is found, we should all be home in Zoom. And I know about the social skills, but still though, like, you really gonna
you dying. It's not worth like you make learning.
Not dying, like, you really gonna just.
Sorry, you can't make friends when you're dead. That's
Exactly. To the wolves. I mean, like, you really know half of those kids listen to the Future song "Mask Off."
Plain and simple. Plain and simple. You make friends in a coffin. That's it.
I just think if you're gonna give CUNY schools Zoom classes, you're gonna give the little kids to go outside and get the disease. Like, you're putting younger kids at risk.
That's how they're messing up the youth, man.
Exactly. And then I know for my sister, she's going to the same high school I graduated from. They gave her a choice to stay home or to go to school. And of course, my parents are like, "You're staying your ass home. You're not going to school because, we don't want you to get sick." But my thing is, like, why would you even give the parents a choice to do Zoom and to go into class? Like, it should only be Zoom.
Mostly, it was probably because most of these parents at work, and especially if it's like little kids, they don't know like where to probably put them. So probably that's probably the reason why. Because like how they work and they can't find no one to babysit or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So probably they use that just to if you can go to school, we'll watch them until like the regular time and have them do the education and then go back home.
But here's the
I
thing.
get that for younger kids, but high school kids, you're 14. You should know how to take care of yourself by now, or at least stay home for an amount of time where you're not gonna hurt yourself.
I just think it's like in Europe, like, here's the thing, they're like, oh, we need to get kids back in school. We would get kids back in school. It's just a simple thing. This is gonna be crazy notion I'm about to drop on you. If you all just wear your effing masks. Like, we would have been done by now. We would have been like chilling. We would have been able to do pods and start it out. There are European classes that are already chilling, having classes with the kids next to each other because they're doing all right. Over here, just like, nah, just like sneeze on me real quick. This is fine.
I don't know. It's crazy. I just know de Blasio is gonna like give it a month. I'll give de Blasio like 2-3 months max. He's gonna make an apology conference online.
Say that never happened.
I'm sorry.
It'd be like, whose idea was this? Just like meeting them as they turn.
The biggest thing is like they're sharing equipment. They got the playground in public schools. How often are they really clean though?
Exactly.
Like, even if kids are wearing masks and like doing everything they're supposed to, which they're kids, they're not gonna do that.
Lord knows.
Often are those gym equipment and the gym playground and all that stuff actually cleaned?
Bro, here's another thing. You don't even need to consider that. Right now, try singing "Happy Birthday" in your head, right? And try doing this that entire time. You really think a kid's gonna do that the entire damn time?
Exactly.
Just sing that song every damn time.
How was gonna even wash their hands after they do
they're gonna do this, and that's it. It's done. There's a whole TikTok dance on how to do it. You think they learned that? No. they out here doing the WAP though. It's whatever.
We barely have soap in public schools.
Yo.
Just put everyone in hamster balls. Screw
Yeah,
that.
that's even better.
Basketball, yes.
Remember that there was a Ned Declassify episode when he was like in the big ball. Yeah, he was in that big ball. There we go.
Bro, watch.
Oh,
it.
they did that. No, they did that episode. Everybody had the flu, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And he had the flu. And he had
No,
the.
it's
he
gonna
was in the
happen.
big ball.
It's really gonna happen.
So they knew this was gonna happen in 2020. See, they predicted.
He
it.
predicted that. There we go.
The biggest summary for this pandemic I've seen was someone saying we have to change the phrase "avoid it like the plague" because apparently people don't do that.
Well, people are like, oh, did you sneeze on this? Bro,
This one
I
was
just-
caught COVID, trying to prove it was fake.
bro, these simps are simping over Rona. Like, COVID is the Bella Delphine or the Bella Delphine, whatever of parasites and diseases on God.
It's like Super Saiyan 1, bro. It's like Super Saiyan.
Yeah, it's like he's like, oh, here's some antibodies. Here's an antibody soup, and everyone's like, oh yeah, let's buy this. They're just dropping their Twitch bits and stuff.
Gosh.
I just hate that it got to this point for us to be like, oh, maybe I should wash my hands more. Oh, maybe I should cover my mouth.
Yeah. It literally took this break for them to finally disinfect the train station.
No.
Finally,
Yeah.
the train station.
Because the transit system hasn't been around for like centuries. Now they want to start cleaning
Yeah,
it.
now they're like,
Oh, this
yellow.
the water is dirty.
Wow!
The train actually had a color. Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa,
bad.
it was supposed to be gray. Oh,
It's like a
Oh,
bad
wow.
sniff out here. It's like, oh god, what is that?
oh, this isn't graffiti. Oh, okay.
oh, okay.
Is that the 80s up here?
Wax
Whoa.
on, wax off. Let's go. Wax on, wax off.
It's like Narnia, but worse.
No, but this is ridiculous. Let's put a 5-year-old in a classroom and let's just pray that they don't bring COVID back.
It's essentially the equivalent of like put 5 monkeys in one banana and hope that they don't all touch the same banana.
Exactly.
That's the equivalent of like kindergartners.
And how we know the teacher's safe? Like,
Right?
what if the teachers
Like-
go out clubbing, come back, give it to a 5-year-old?
Yeah, if the teacher gets sick,
I thought the clubs were closed though.
insurance, what's the pension?
I don't know. I'm just giving a scenario.
Some places have opened up already. I have friends going out to clubs every night still.
No, no, it's gonna risk a club for what?
I know Six Flags is open.
Yes.
Who's going to Six Flags?
A lot of people still going to Six Flags.
Why?
That's gonna be it for this podcast. It was nice having you all. We'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.